Hey guys, it's been quite a long time. I don't know if I'm gonna be returning to streaming. I'm not feeling it these days, but it gives me a lot of extra time to kind of pursue other things. So let's get to the point of this video. So, some of you may know that I've talked extensively about creating my own game, wanting to develop and design my own game. And over the years, for the last 25 years or so, it's been something else to see the technology evolve the way that it has. You'll have to pardon the noises outside, by the way. Cars driving by. And so it's been something else to see the technology develop the way that it has. And I think when I first started learning about this kind of stuff, I started out learning on the adventure game Studio Engine by Chris Jones. And this is so far back. So it's been over 25 years. But I'm going so far back that it ran on DOS. I remember when Adventure Game Studio ran on DOS. And there is Adventure Game Studio, the most recent version right there. I don't have any projects in there. So the next engine I started to learn on was Don McGule's RPG Maker 2000. I had excuse me. I had graduated high school and I was very happy to be out of there. Um I met some really wonderful people through high school and I had some really great teachers. There's a few that stand out. They left an impression on me, but I had a lot of challenges and difficulties in school that I mostly kept to myself and didn't tell many people about. So I was happy to get out of there. And when I got out of there, I had extra time, so I started looking into video games and game development and stuff, and I struggled with it for years, and I couldn't do it because I didn't understand algebra and variables and things like that. So it's been something to see the technology evolve over the years to the point that it has. And with that, I found on Steam, I found Game Maker Studio 2, which is a game engine and you can develop games, and the nice thing about it being on Steam is that it's free. If I successfully developed a game and wanted to publish it and get a commercial license, I'd have to pay for the upgraded version of this, which I might eventually end up doing. And I'll explain why in a minute. Um, so when I sat down and I started to learn things on this engine, it was really intimidating because it opens up just like this. You have a window just like this, and you're wondering what the hell is going on here. And you have these folders and these directory trees over here. And you're wondering what the hell's going on here. And the more I learned how to do this and the more comfortable I got with it, I started playing with it as a joke, right? It was a joke. But then I looked at the some of the menus that I had designed and I thought, well, you know what? This might get interesting. So I just kept going and going and going, and for the last month, this is what I've been doing is I've been working on developing this idea, and I'll explain a little bit more as I show a little bit of this off here. So I'm gonna launch the test phase of this project. It doesn't have a name right now. Um, I am working on a story as well as developing this. I'm sort of doing this, sort of mashing it all together all at once. And I'm taking inspiration from Secret of Evermore. If you've played Secret of Evermore back in the 90s for the Super NES, excuse me, for the Super NES. It's about a boy and his dog that end up in an alternate universe, and they end up they're basically they're two time travelers, and depending on where you are and what's going on, the dog changes form. It's still a dog, but it changes form. So I was thinking about that idea. I've always liked that idea, and I wanted to see it. They never did anything with Secret of Evermore aside from the one initial game. So I thought, well, what about a cat? So I put my cat in there, and I'll explain a little bit more about how I took an actual picture of my cat and fed it into a program and turned it into an animation. So that's my cat. Her name's Gizmo. Uh, if you've seen on my streams, I've talked about Gizmo. You've seen her. So it turned her into an animation. It's the same thing with this main character here. It's from pictures of myself from about 12 years ago. I had a picture of myself in track pants, and I was wearing a black t-shirt that said, "Everybody look busy, Jesus is coming." So it took that photo and I turned it into an animated character. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI here too. But let me explain. So this is a side view project, which means basically you go from left to right. You fight monsters. You do whatever. It's like Streets of Rage, Final Fight, uh, Faxanadu. I think that's what they call it. That's what most people call it, Faxanadu. I always pronounced it as Xanadu, but I could be wrong. And also like Friday the 13th for the NES, it's a side-scrolling game. So basically, you go from left to right, and the world opens up, and there's monsters, and you. So that's the style I've chosen to go with, because that's the one I had the easiest time with. And you can see that I already picked up a crystal here, and I'll explain. So there are 3 meters on the top left side. You have the health bar, shield bar, which is the green, and the battery, which is blue. So the more I drive around, the more the battery is going to go down. And this, by the way, that is from a actual picture of my wheelchair. So that's my real wheelchair. So the more I drove around, the more the battery is going to go down. You might have seen, and if the battery reaches 0, it's game over. So it's a game over state. And it's probably going to reach 0. So, and I put this chest here. Picked up the gauntlet. This strange artifact hums and vibrates. I can now use the shield. And I recorded some lines just because I could. I might do more. I don't know if I'm going to voice this character completely or not. With the strength of this gauntlet, I can lift this sword. Now I can defend myself. So, this room here, which is the center room, this is the room where I test all my game mechanics and I make sure they work, and I test my basic movement and I make sure it works. I make sure the cat follows me and the buddy system's okay. The buddy system for the cat's not finished yet. I tested the combat mechanics here. And the reason that I have a gauntlet on my left arm is because the left arm is the one that's affected by the cerebral palsy. And the gauntlet idea comes from Norse mythology of Thor. Thor couldn't lift the hammer. It was too heavy for him to lift. So the dwarves he went to the dwarves, and I think he had to do battle with Loki or something, or it might have been Yegermendor, but I think it was Loki. Uh, and he asked the dwarves for help. So the dwarves made him the hammer. They made him Mjolnir, and they also made him some gauntlets and some boots because he couldn't lift the hammer. And then when he lifted the hammer with the gauntlets, he wasn't able to move. So they made him some boots. So I got the idea for the gauntlet and my left arm from the Legend of Thor, and also from Army of Darkness, the movie Army of Darkness, Ash's mechanical arm. And so all of the weapons in the game are going to be held in his left hand because he needs his right hand to drive his chair, to move his chair around, right? So I guess it was a logical decision too. And you'll see that my buddy system here, this is for Gizmo. So all she has right now, she'll follow me around and she can rest. And she'll rest for about 15 seconds. She's going to be able to do a lot. She's going to be able to jump, run, climb, fight. So she's going to be able to do a lot of things. She'll be able to search for things, small things that might be hidden. She'll be able to find them, things like that. So another thing too is I have a battery. My battery goes down. Like I said, every time I move the chair around, battery goes down. So I came up with this idea that there's these little crystal balls, and every time you pick one up, the battery fills up a little bit. Eventually, you're going to get to a point in the game. Keep in mind that these are just the test rooms, so the collision detection might be a bit off, and it looks a little silly. But you're going to get to a point in the game where you get an upgrade for the chair that is a crystalline. It's a crystalline upgrade for the battery, and that's going to make the battery last a lot longer. But in the meantime, you got to pick up these little crystal fragments to help keep the battery from going down. Because as soon as the battery goes down, you hit game over. So I got these mechanics, and you can see that this works with a controller too. I wired it up to work with a controller. You can also use the keyboard too. The Z button attacks. The shift button activates the shield. And I put a level up system here too. This was inspired by Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, which my mom, funny enough, she bought it in 1987 when we were at school one day. She went out and bought it in 1987. And it is actually my favorite Legend of Zelda game. I think it's, some people would call it the black sheep of the franchise, but it's one of my favorites. I have a lot of very, I got a lot of, there's, my mom and I had a lot of good times sitting around playing that game. So you have 3 upgrades there because that's all I put in there right now. And you can see that I got a level up there. And then you look at the status screen here. See the level went up. It says level 2. That tells you how many hit points you have, how much XP you have, how much money you have. You also have an objective system. So if there are things to do, you'll always be able to look on the menu or up in the upper left corner and you'll see what your current objective is. It tells you what you've got. Like right now, I've got the Star Metal Gauntlet. That's part of the story, is the metal fell from the sky, and then the gauntlet was forged from the metal that fell from the stars. And with the gauntlet on, I'm able to have control over my left arm. So if you look at the menu here, and then you push down, or no, you push over to the right, and this tells you, this is the player growth chart. So it tells you what your attack level is, tells you what your attack power is, tells you how much shield power you have, tells you how much juice you've got in your chair battery right now. And it tells you about upgrades, which I haven't made any yet, so they're not there. So this is what I call the information window, is right here. And it says the gauntlet's ready, sword's ready, the shield is ready, and the battery's active. So then, if you look at this, you'll get the diagrams of the chair, and this is my actual chair, by the way. Again, I took pictures of it while I was sitting around the house, and I took pictures of it, and I fed it into the computer, and this is what it spit out. So I got the idea for this menu from Super Metroid. And if you've ever played Super Metroid, you know that you get this memory where you get this menu where you can see everything in Samus's suit. So that's where I got the idea for this. So you can look at the right angle and the left angle here, and it tells you about what's on the chair right now, and it tells you what it does. And then you look at the front here, tells you everything that's on the front right now. You got headlights. That's the only upgrade that's on there right now. You look at the back, and when you look at the back view tells you got a gel battery. It tells you that is your main power unit for the chair. It also tells you where the battery's at, so it's in caution. So I gotta, you gotta be in the it's in the yellow right now. So there's blue, yellow, and red. And when it's in red, you're in danger. And this thing here is a grapple mount on the right side. I haven't put it up there yet. I might do something else. That's just a placeholder. And so that is your start menu or your information window. That's all your information window. And then you have your inventory window here. So this tells you what current items you have. It says I have the Star Metal Gauntlet and the Claymore, and you have this thing on the right side that says jewels. And so jewels are your currency. That they're a big part of the economy of this game. They're gonna be. And the jewels, Gizmo will find them. And you can also get them from certain enemies, might drop them. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna go to my shopkeeper. Again, this is my test area. I had to set up this shop to see if it works. And there's my shopkeeper. Don't mind that there's not collision detection. This is just a test. So you pick up a coin here and you get 10 coins. So one big coin is worth 10 coins. And then you have your jewels. So right here we have the garnet and we have the ruby. And there's also the sapphire and the emerald as well, but there's none in the room right now. So each jewel has a different monetary value. So you go and you talk to this guy here. And you can sell your jewels, you can buy items from them. But I haven't made any items yet, so there's nothing in there. But it is ready to be loaded up when I've created it. And you can ask him about the jewels. So we're going to ask him about the jewels. My being a huge adventure game fan, I was really excited about like dialogue trees. So I'm really enjoying writing the parts for this and some of the dialogue, and I'm gonna write more. I'm having fun doing this, and that's the important thing. So he says jewels very invaluable, garnets are common, rubies are the most valuable. I'll pay a hefty price. He says that gauntlet you have on your arm. Haven't seen anything like it since Thor. Find a smithy, and he can infuse the gauntlet with jewels. Sell them or use them. It's your choice. So that's gonna be something that I'm gonna implement. You will be able to enhance weapons and abilities with jewels, or you can sell them if you need money, if you want curatives and you gotta buy stuff for Giz and stuff like that. you might have to make a choice whether you want to sell them or not. And okay, so this is Gizmo's commands. There's only one right now. There's going to be a whole bunch. But right now I can tell her to rest, and she'll go rest for 15 seconds. There she sawn logs. I don't know if you can see that, but she'll, after 15 seconds, she's going to get up. So along with that, there's going to be a jump command, there's going to be a climb, there's going to be a seek, there's follow me, there's follow me, there's stay, just different things I'm going to put in there. So I might run out of battery here. So I had to test my combat mechanics as well. So this is where I put all my enemies to test my mechanics and see if they work. And you can see that it's working. I would like to work with an artist and some programmers and stuff, but I can't afford to pay anybody. So I'm working with what's available to me. These are static backgrounds. Eventually I'm going to get some tiles, and it's going to be really interesting to build the world and populate it and sort of make it come to life and give it rules and have it operate and function and stuff like that. So that's what I've been working on for the last month. And with that being said, I think I'm gonna go now because I am hungry and it's after 5. And this is usually when Giz and I eat. So thank you everybody, and thank you for all your support. Uh, I got a lot of support from the community that I built while streaming. So thank you very much, guys, for that. I don't know if I'm coming back to streaming anytime soon. I'm kind of thinking at the end of the summer, I might. I'm not sure. I'm not feeling it right now. But thank you very much, everybody. From the bottom of my heart, I'm humbled by the support and encouragement and all the things I've learned over the years from streaming, the friends I've made, the connections I've made. I hope you guys always had a good time. I hope you guys always had a laugh and you always relaxed and enjoyed yourself. And with that being said, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and don't forget to hug your loved ones and your friends and let them know how much you care, because none of us are promised tomorrow or even the rest of today. So thank you very much and take care of yourself. Bye for now.